Hey friends, and welcome to our channel. If you're new here, we are Jane and Kyle, and we are travel junkies. If you love traveling the world just like us, consider subscribing to follow our jet lag journey. Alright, so to catch you up, so far in our journey, we flew out of Chicago to make a pit stop in Los Angeles to meet up with my mom and dad, flew together to Vancouver, BC, where we had Tim Hortons before boarding our cruise ship, sailed through the Inside Passage, where we had a very bumpy and seasick ride to Juneau, where we climbed Mount Roberts and rewarded ourselves with delicious crab. Now we are making our way to Skagway.
Good morning from beautiful Skagway. Not quite as good of a view from the boat today, but I still see some mountains. Today we are on day 4 and our port number 2 on this trip. So today we are doing our first shore excursion, going to the Yukon Railway, which I'm very excited about, as well as a Yukon Expedition. We'll actually be briefly crossing into Canada once again. And then we'll be coming back down and getting back on the ship. So first, a little breakfast. We'll see you there. Ahead of our excursion, we decided to try breakfast in the main dining room. The dining room breakfast experience takes a little longer than Lido Market since you are served at your table, but it provides a significant step up in quality of each dish. Feel free to pause here to see what you might have a taste for. We started off with a hot coffee and then enjoyed a selection of freshly cut fruit, corned beef hash with some of the creamiest scrambled eggs I've ever tasted, 2 types of eggs Benedict, and a lox bagel. All of this was finished off with some fresh squeezed orange juice. All in all, we would definitely recommend you experience the dining room breakfast on your next cruise. And with the full belly, we headed out on our Yukon Expedition. We took off from the heliport. Just kidding. We boarded our humble motor coach just off of the ship and were introduced to our driver and guide Cora, who took us into the Yukon. We began the drive through historic Skagway, Alaska, but more on the town later on in this video. The buildings soon melted into mountains, lakes, and waterfalls as we climbed through the Yukon Pass. We even stumbled upon a furry surprise as a brown bear was just off of the road foraging for food.
He's running into the woods. There he goes.
We crossed from the US into Canada and we were officially in the rugged Yukon territory. Our Yukon Expedition had begun. Our first stop was an overlook above the beautiful Emerald Lake, with its green waters shimmering in the late morning sunshine. Back on board the bus, some of us enjoyed some much needed rest, while I was absolutely glued to the window, taking in all of the ever-changing scenery that the Yukon had to offer. Just when you thought it couldn't get any more beautiful, you'd see another mountain pass, another lake, another waterfall. It just never ended, and I loved every minute of it. Our guide Cora was super knowledgeable about the area, spending the majority of the drive telling us stories to bring the history of the region to life, including the First Nation roots, as well as the gold rush that put Skagway on the map. The tour also offered some literature on the wildlife, flora, and fauna that we encountered along the way. Our second stop was Carcross, first inhabited by First Nation fishermen and hunters dating back 4,500 years. The modern village began in 1896 during the Klondike Gold Rush, and today it's home to about 300 residents. Cora recommended we stop by Caribou Coffee, and we were thrilled to find out that this was a local coffee shop and bore no relation to the US-based chain. It seems like the entire town was here, but we enjoyed a fresh cup of coffee and some delicious homemade pastries and sausage rolls. Feeling refreshed, it was time to explore the town. One of the most interesting spots in Carcross is the SS Tucci, a steamship from 1917 that saw decades of use, fell into disrepair, was painstakingly restored, but then was almost completely destroyed in a tragic act of arson in the year 1990. What remains is still on display just off of the town center. After seeing most of the town, we got back on our bus and headed on to the next stop on our adventure. The Caribou Crossing trading post, just down the road from Carcross, was our third stop, where we started with a full lunch. On the menu was barbecued chicken, salad, a baked potato, bread, and homemade cinnamon sugar donuts. To be honest with you, the food was just okay outside of the donuts, but eating lunch in a replica wagon was a lot of fun. There has never been an easier sign to follow than that, so we ventured through a replica cabin to find that the trading post had partnered with the local Humane Society to showcase puppies available for adoption, and, spoiler alert, they were pretty stinking cute. Just beyond the puppies, we found the adult dogs, who were so excited to get a chance to pull people around. Since there was clearly no snow around, they traded their dog sled for a side-by-side, and you could get pulled around the course for a small additional fee. The petting zoo included goats and llamas, and for a few dollars, you could feed the animals right out of your own hands. This goat was particularly hungry, and if you weren't careful, he would go directly for the entire bag rather than the few nibbles that you gave him. We were running low on time, so we quickly walked through the rest of the trading post. Of course, I practiced my best Yukon animal impressions. There is a lot to do here, so the 2 hours that we had went by very quickly, and before we knew it, we were back on the bus and headed to the Yukon Railway. After another 90-minute drive, we said goodbye to our trusty motor coach and found ourselves at the iconic White Pass and Yukon Railway. The entire route covers about 67 miles, all the way to Carcross, but for our journey we were only riding about a third of that from Fraser all the way down to Skagway.
The Yukon Railway. It is one of the most iconic, as you can see, absolutely stunning scenery here. We are going from Yukon to Skagway. We are taking this from Fraser. Stunning, beautiful view. Take a look at that.
Like many other things on today's excursion, the White Pass and Yukon Railway began construction in 1898 during none other than the Klondike Gold Rush and opened in 1890, replacing a treacherous and brutal trek by foot from Skagway up into the Yukon Territory where the gold was discovered. In 1994, the Yukon Railway was designated an International Historic Landmark by both the Canadian and American Society of Civil Engineers. And when you look at the terrain that it navigates, you can fully understand why. Remember when I said the right-hand side of the train was the best seat in the house? Well, that's not exactly true. The best seat is actually not a seat. It is standing on your own 2 feet in the open air landing between each train car. There is just something else about the click-clack of the train tracks and the fresh mountain air blowing through your hair that takes this incredible experience to the next level. My favorite part of the day was over all too soon, and after a quick passport check, we were officially back on US soil in Skagway, and we admired the incredible train for one last time. As we walked from the train back into the town center in Skagway, there were a number of other historical locomotives previously used on the route throughout the years. Can you even imagine the amount of snow that this snowblower locomotive is meant to handle? Winters in Yukon must be something else. We noticed a sign showing some historical photos of Skagway. On the right, every dot is a man, a gold miner, taking the treacherous hike from Skagway into the Yukon. I can't even imagine how luxurious that train must have felt when it opened in 1900. Skagway still boasts a cool Old West vibe in the downtown area, with many timber-constructed buildings, and even boasts some of the original shops and taverns from its heyday. You might think Kimsey's is just another stereotypical cruise port jewelry shop, but the local mainstay is one of the few shops that still maintains its original painted sign right on the side of the mountain overlooking the city. It's such a cool homage to the city's past, and I'm so glad that they maintain this. We finished our day in port of Skagway with some souvenir shopping and ventured our way back to the ship.
We've just come back from day 4 excursion. Let me know in the comments what this is. This is, maybe it's a bear. I don't know. Tomorrow we are headed to Glacier Bay. There is a couple different glaciers we will be seeing tomorrow, and the information is on the app if you download that. Some more information about Glacier Bay and a beautifully made room.
That incredible rainbow at dinner was the perfect way to cap off a whirlwind day exploring Skagway and the Yukon Territory. After a piece of what had to be the world's largest apple pie, We spent the evening relaxing in our room as the ship got back underway. One last pit stop at our favorite meal of the day, the late night snack. And that is it for day 4 aboard Holland America's Koningsdam. We had an awesome day in the Yukon, and we are so excited for Glacier Bay. Stay tuned for part 5 coming out soon. And remember, if you want to experience this cruise or another Holland America cruise for yourself, use our link in the bio, explore what they've got to offer, and book using our link for $50 off your next cruise. Bon voyage!